Hello, I'm Dora Nellenbel Dotan in Svat. Before getting to the main topic of this video, I'd like to say that right now I feel tired for some reason. Before making this video, I recooked some potatoes that were underdone, and I did a laundry. Sometimes before I make videos, I debate whether or not if I have blemishes on my face, I should put some makeup on them so as not to scare the public or not. Why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this because when I come out finally and say the truth, that for some years now I have been at the level that is called HaMashiach, I want you to know that I'm just plain folks, that I do not have delusions of grandeur, that it's all very much in perspective for me. And I want you to understand the real concept of Mashiach in the correct perspective. First of all, there isn't only one Mashiach. It is a level that is attained when someone has translated that which is written in Torah on the page, the dry page, into their own living flesh. They have so internalized Torah that they become what's called Mashiach, which is Sefer. The book itself is alive. They translated the written word into the living flesh. That's Mashiach. Mashiach is also being equal to 358, equal to ההגשמה, which means the actualization or the realization, as I have said. The word HaMashiach is equal to 363. Now I'm putting the definite article, which is the letter He, onto Mashiach, and I want to say something about that letter He before going on. The letter He equals 5, which is the same thing as 1004 or 2003 or 3005. One of the substitution values for He is gam et or gam at. Gam et means with this too, or gam at means with you in the feminine singular. So the very placing of a definite article on something says gam at, and you too, in the feminine singular. Gam ata, and you too, in the male singular, is the letter yud. It's He twice. So when someone says HaMashiach, they are already saying, and you too, in the feminine, are Mashiach. HaMashiach equaling 363 is equal to 1362, which is the value of the expression pרוש נכון, which means correct interpretation. I have said this before too. When someone gets to the level of interpreting Torah correctly, they have become HaMashiach. HaMashiach is HaSefer Chai. The book is alive. It is also Moshe Chai. Moses is alive. And it's also Moshe בהוה. Moses in the present. The rabbis who described HaMashiach in impossible terms were not themselves on the level of HaMashiach. Had they been, they would know that at the level of Mashiach, one still has faults, one still has foibles, one still gets into a blue funk sometimes, or wakes up like a little bit grumpy. We are not devoid of faults and foibles. What we are devoid of is any kind of really evil intentions. One cannot get to the level of Mashiach if they have any evil intentions. That doesn't mean that you don't get annoyed. It doesn't mean that you don't sometimes wish that there could be short shrift to the world's problems. But you don't mean evil for anyone. You might be silly sometimes, you might not be mindful enough, you might not be considerate enough, you might be tired, but you'll never have a really evil intention. That, no. You genuinely want everyone to be happy, every sentient being to be happy, and even inanimate matter. All of the interpretations of someone who has reached the level of Mashiach are for the sake of peace, and are filled with peace, and are very, very sweet. It's important when we learn Torah that we don't, what's called, eat unripe fruit. What that means is not getting to the bottom of the deepest meanings, where our understanding has ripened to a point where we can see the peace and the beauty and the sweetness in everything in Torah. There is nothing in Torah that is in any way acerbic or, is that a word? Or cruel or harsh. The real meanings of Torah are all very, very gentle and filled with peace. And when we get to the level of a Mashiach, we can see that, such that although we can see how wrong interpretations occur, and we remember ourselves when we weren't able to interpret so deeply, we most certainly no longer see Torah at the level of demanding animal sacrifice, or boiling snails to make a blue thread for the tzitzit, or not. The Torah doesn't look to us like it demands that a woman who's been accused of being unfaithful has to go through some kind of dangerous, humiliating drinking potion ceremony. We can see how people see that, but we don't see it that way at all. The state of being HaMashiach is not a one-time given and that's it. You keep growing and it keeps getting deeper. When we learn to the level on which we have become HaMashiach, Hashem shows us in Torah where our names are written and where it is written that we are HaMashiach. In other words, we get the proofs. We are shown the substitution values that make it perfectly clear to us that we have attained that level. God informs us that we have, which we do not accept. For years, you say, no, that must be some kind of a mistake, it's wishful thinking, no, it can't possibly be, because I'm not what the rabbis expect me to be. I've still got this fault and that fault and the other fault, you know. And then eventually one comes to realize that the description of Mashiach of the rabbis was written by people who had not attained that level, and so they were writing out their fantasies of what they think the Mashiach should be, and it's written in superhero kinds of terms, because it's their imagination. Until you reach the level of Mashiach, it's very, very hard to accept that you can reach that level, that you can be learning Torah like Moshe, directly from God, and yet still be imperfect. The Buddhists have a very, very beautiful saying. It's so meaningful and it's so true. They say, before enlightenment, fetch water, chop wood. After enlightenment, fetch water, chop wood. It's exactly like that. On the day that somebody realizes that they're the Mashiach, they'll probably have either laundry to do or dishes that need to be washed if their husband isn't kind enough to do it for them, or if he's out that day. You remain very much human and flawed, and that's necessary. We keep trying to improve and get over our flaws, but you learn like God, but you remain a human. When I am not learning as Dvora bat Priima'at, I am Dorin Ellen Bel Dotan. And Dorin Ellen Bel Dotan is a person like every other person. When I start to learn, I switch into God mode. And people who've watched me on the internet doing the substitution values, writing out the chilufim in real time, understand that that's God talking and Dorian is doing the typing, but that's actually God talking. That is the level of Mashiach. It very definitely does come with gradually acquired enhanced abilities. That is true. Don't do any kind of magic. We don't do any kind of like, let me see if I can levitate a chair or something like that. But if need be, we can override the laws of nature, absolutely. There's no question about that. And that ability grows. One of the important things that happen to someone who reaches the level of Mashiach is that they reach the level that is called Adonai. And I will explain what the name Adonai really is. We see the pronoun ani, which is I, in Adonai, and then there's another letter, Dalet. That letter Dalet equals 4, which is the same thing as 1003 and 2002 and 3001. One of the substitution values for the letter Dalet is Kol Beit Yisrael, which is the whole house of Israel. So one experiences themselves as being Adonai, that is, I am the whole house of Israel. One taps into having 600,000 personalities, facets, faces, mutually enlightened and enlightening facets. That, yes. I'm not always in that state. When I go to the grocery store, I find it easier to, like switch back into Doreen mode. But when I learn, yeah, I can very definitely get to the level of being what's called Knesset Yisrael, which is the whole of Israel. Trying to explain to you that Mashiach is attainable for every Jew. It takes a lot of work. It's difficult, certainly, to transform one's flesh into living Torah. That's the real Brit. That's the real covenant. And it makes one very, very super sensitive and vulnerable. It's a long and painful process, gradually being transformed into walking, talking Torah. But it's an attainable state. And these are the final thoughts that I want to leave you with, and not just thoughts, they're facts. I'll demonstrate them, please God, in the description below this video. Two of the substitution values that are very, very important for Mashiach, equaling 358 or 1357, is Kol ben Adam. Kol ben Adam means every son of Adam. That includes the girls too, because Ben is Shabbat. It is the daughter of every generation, so it includes the daughters too, obviously. And we need to understand what Adam is. The beginning of Adam, we see Aleph, and at the end we see a Mem Sofit, and then again we have that letter Dalet in the middle. So we have M, Aleph and Mem Sofit, and then a Dalet, so it's M, Kol Beit Yisrael. The mother of the entire house of Israel. That is, Kol Ben Adam is Mashiach. And another very, very important substitute value that the rabbis did not get to because they weren't thinking even in terms of female being able to reach that level, is also Ollamim, which means the mother of worlds, or Kol Olam, the mother of all worlds, are also substitute values of Mashiach. Mashiach also, of course, we know is Nachash, which has been very unfortunately translated as serpent. The rabbis, unfortunately, did not understand the terms in Torah correctly and came to very far afield definitions of the terms and interpretations of the terms. One of the things that we have to get to, if we are to attain the level of Mashiach, is the correct interpretation of the terms in Torah. Nachash, being Mashiach, is exactly that. Chava, in her manifestation as Nachash, was in her manifestation of the mother of all worlds. Right? Ollamim is Mashiach. HaMashiach would be HaOlamim, the mother of the worlds. Kol HaOlam, the mother of the entire world. So she was actually talking to herself. This is an internal conversation between Chava in her manifestation as the mother of all that lives and the mother of all worlds. And that is the level that Jewish women are supposed to attain in order to be called HaMashiach. This is the truth of the matter, and although it's very, very hard to... I'm reminded of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov hid in the forest for many years and tried to hide that he had reached the level of Baal Shem Tov, of the master of the good name. He didn't want anyone to know. It's something that we, you don't just go out and say, hey, you know what? But at some point it becomes necessary for other people to know that someone in their generation has reached that level, so that they may know that they can reach that level. Do not think that somebody else is going to come and fix the world and be your leader and so forth and so on. Why can that not be true? Because, as I said, in order to reach the level of Messiah, one has to experience themselves as the entire house of Israel. You become 600,000, aspects. So you understand that Mashiach is contained in you and you're contained in Mashiach, and that is true of all of Israel. So it's not someone else who is going to come to you and stand as opposed to you, talking to you and teaching you. It's going to be you. And it is high time that all of the Jews accept this truth, such as it is. Thank you for listening.